So, very good morning. A very good evening to everyone who is watching this from their homes during the tough times of COVID 19. I hope every one of you are safe and healthy. On the auspicious occasion of the 75th Independence Day, I, Captain Digvijay Singh Dhadwal from the 2nd Battalion, the Naga Regiment, on behalf of the Indian Army, wish you all a very happy Independence Day. Like Bill Maher once said, and I quote, Gentlemen, gentlemen, freedom is not free, and I unquote. And let's not forget the individuals who actually made the supreme sacrifice and made this day possible. Not a long while ago, when I actually realized what is the mission statement or the job description of an Indian Army officer. Well, there was a young officer, 20, 21 years old, who had gone for this operation, and there was actual active skirmish, fighting taking place, and people getting wounded, someone might have died. That's the job we are doing, right? It's not the art of living, it's the Indian Army. So later on, the officer is introspecting himself whether what he did was right or what he did was wrong. So his commanding officer, he comes along and watches that something is wrong with the boy. And he asks, son, what's going on? What's wrong? So he tells his commanding officer that, son, sir, today I had gone for this operation and I might have killed somebody. So his commanding officer tells him that, listen, son, here's the deal. Whenever you are sent into an mission, you are sent with an objective. That is your job. Whether the person you killed was right or wrong, that's not for you to decide. It's between him and the God, his maker. That judgment, whether he was right or wrong, will be passed by the maker. But your job as an Indian Army officer is to ensure that that meeting happens as soon as possible. With this as a preamble, I come to the lecture in which I'll be talking about I will showing you the different description of our world. Well, every job in which we are sent to is full of chaos, be it enemy contact at the border, or be it internal security in places like Haryana, and be it flood reliefs in places like Uttarakhand, Kerala, Maharashtra, or be it even earthquake relief, or even a child who is fallen inside a borewell. The Indian Army is called in the midst of the chaos and they pull them out. Well, with this as a brief introduction, I come to the lecture proper.
What do you plan to do in life?
Join the army.
Why army?
Because a soldier lives by chance, loves by choice, and kills by profession.
I'm very impressed, Mr. Vikram Batra.
Like Captain Vikram Batra said, I too am living by chance. I too love by my choice, and I too am killing by my profession. And ladies and gentlemen, in the next 30 minutes or so, you too will be impressed by the second largest army of the world.
I'm an officer in the Indian Army. I'm a son to two mothers. One bore me, but the other, my country. She made me. She made me the man that I am. And every time she calls, I shall hear and I shall heed. For she sings to me in my hour of need.
तू ही सब कुछ, तू ही जान मेरी, तेरे हाथों की लकीरों में तकदीर मेरी, तू जो हार है हार मेरी, उठे सर भी मेरा जो हो जीत तेरी. तू न चलेगा अकेला कभी की संग चलेगी मेरी दुआ. तू न थकेगा कभी की ताकत तुझ में लाखों की है.
Well, the question arises, which everyone asks me, well, Digvijay, why did you join the army? Well, I take immense pride in the fact that I belong to a family who has been serving for this nation for the past 100 years. And post independence, my family has fought for this nation in each battle. Be it 47, where my great grandfather, along with his brother, fought against the Pakistani raiders in Jammu and Kashmir in 1947, or be it my grandfather along with his two brothers who fought in 65 and 71 operation. And gentlemen, this is my grandfather who was awarded with Veer Chakra Colonel Teja Singh for his gallant actions in the 1965 operation. Or be it my own father who was there in 99 in Kargil or 2000 in Oprakram. Well, the general consensus is that I belong to a family who has this rich legacy and I have been bestowed upon, and I have to continue that legacy. But truth be told, I was never forced by anyone that I have to join the forces. Well, then people ask, then when did you decide that you have to join the forces? Well, in the year 2006, we had, due to some family reasons, we had shifted from cantonment to civil area. And in 5 months of that life, I realized that I cannot survive here because I was addicted. I was addicted to a particular kind of lifestyle, the elite lifestyle that can only be provided by the Indian Army. And I saw my own father who donned this uniform. He was my Superman. He will come back from his field posting and tell small anecdote that he has done that, he has done this. And for me, there was no going back. I had finished my education in March, April 2013, and by June 2013, I was doing more push-ups than I could ever count in National Defense Academy. And because of this, there is a wrong notion amongst the people that only army kids, people who have the army background, can only enter the armed forces. Truth be told, that is not at all true. In the Indian Armed Forces, we never look for your background. It doesn't matter you are the son of a president or you. It doesn't matter you are son of anyone. What matters is, do you have it in you? Do you have the qualities to take your men into battle, to take your men into certain death? Those are the qualities we are looking into. So don't think whether I belong to a armed forces background or I don't. The Indian Army will look into it. If you have it in you, you'll be selected. Then I had joined the academy in June 2013, and 3 days into the academy, I was regretting my decision. I was cursing myself. I was cursing the clerk who gave me the form. I was thinking, मैं कहाँ फंस गया रे? Because I met these bunch of people. These are the drill sergeants, or we call them as drill ustads, who were waiting for us in the academy, and their job is to turn the school-going kids into an armed forces officer. To put you in perspective, what these drill ustads are, just imagine to take a Frankenstein, take a Dracula, take few other monsters, and make a composite person or a monster out of it, and keep that composite monster along with the drill ustad. Till date, I will go with the composite monster rather than the drill ustad. That was their kind of job. Their, their job was to train us, hard drill training for 48 months. They will take us by the belt and shake us till our teeth shatters. And they constantly keep on shouting this narrative into our ears to make us go to the next level. For example, we have this we have Khetrapal Parade Ground in National Defence Academy, named after Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal, who had laid down his life in the most gallant action, and he was awarded with Paramveer Chakra. So we have this Khetrapal Parade Ground, and our drill ustad will come and say that if you are not stamping here properly, तुम मेरा बेइज्जती नहीं कर रहा है, तुम Khetrapal का बेइज्जती कर रहा है. And that's the kind of narrative they dwell into us. They'll say, GC, like we are called as gentleman cadet in Indian Military Academy in Dehradun, and they'll tell us, GC, जब GC यहाँ पर कदम मारेगा तो मसूरी में आए हनीमून कपल को पता चलना चाहिए कि इंडियन मिलिट्री एकेडमी में लोहा फॉर्ज हो रहा है. That's the kind of narrative constantly keep on shouting into our ears so that we go to the next level. And after 4 years of hard training, on 10th June 2017, I was commissioned. My parents pipped me, and that was the most emotional and memorable day of my life. It was emotional and memorable because that day I saw tears in the eyes of my Superman. My father had tears in his eyes, and their tears were of pride. And that kind of feeling, I cannot describe how it felt. That's why I want to show it to you. And then after 4 years of training, when I got commissioned, the same drill ustad who used to put a foot on the back of my neck and make me do push-ups over sewer, he'll come and stand and ramrod attention and salute me because now I was an officer. And he gave me an important lesson while I was going out, and he told me कि साहब अब से आप दुनिया में जहां भी आके खड़ा होएगा ना, ऐसा खड़ा होगा कि पूरी दुनिया को मालूम होना चाहिए कि आप मदप्पन साहब का ट्रेंड ऑफिसर है. And that gave me a life lesson that whenever you are training your juniors, you have to constantly remind them what their subunit, what their predecessors have done for their organization. For example, when you are taken to the officers' mess of the 1st Sikh Battalion, that is the 1st Battalion of the Sikh Regiment, they take you to a parchment paper, small, it's yellowish gray, torn from the sides. You can see the typewriter, it's typewritten, and you can see the typewriter holes on it. And it is the operational orders which were given to them stating that 2 companies of this battalion will report to Palam Airport the next morning, and the orders will be given to them next morning in Palam Airport. Well, gentlemen, it was this action which saved Kashmir in 1947. It is because of this action that Kashmir is still in the map of India. And when you have started with this narrative and then you take it to the next trophy stating that we got this trophy because we have captured that height, then you're taken to a flag stating that this flag, to get this flag back, we lost 13 men, but we did get this flag back. Then story after story, you feel like as if you're standing in a temple and the ghost of your past warriors are looking down at you and they expect you to carry the name of the Pulton. After all this, what do we learn? We learn that we need to know how to communicate. And that is taught in the academy, and no organization can teach you that because we better know how to communicate. At the end of the day, we are getting people to jump on live grenades to save the life of their comrade. I have just put on 4 years of service, and this is my kind of experience, how I felt about my commissioning. Now I'll show you the experience of of an officer who is a 35-year-old veteran and how he felt about his time in the armed forces.
Very honestly, after the first day, the first kick we got in our stomach, and we lifted our trunks and reached the squadron. After that, we never knew what happened till we passed out from India.
My grandfather was in the army. My father was in the army. In 1962, 65 and all 71 war. My father, his two brothers, they fought all these three wars. Then I was there in the Kargil war myself in 1999.
The day I put on my rank, that was one of the most fascinating moments of my life. My parents were there and they picked me. I can never forget that. It's that moment in life.
It's a wonderful feeling, you know. Straight away from student days, then you get a commission in the army. You have a star on your shoulder. You're in a different world.
There's something magical about the uniform. Like we just see it as, olive green, a piece of cloth, but I think there's more to it.
I think we all get attracted to the uniform, even if it is about being this old and looking at an officer your age, you probably get attracted to him.
If I was to describe how I feel to see my dad in the uniform, I would say I feel as if he is the Thor.
Now, coming on to the most important life lesson which I've learned in the armed forces. Well, this is not my story. This is an officer who was commissioned into a battalion which was serving in Punjab during the time when the Punjab had that terrorist situation. So this particular officer, he used to travel from one side of the another, and the plains of Punjab he's traveling. And at that time, orders were that the officer will always carry an AK-47 or an assault rifle. So this AK-47, it's a heavy thing and it's cumbersome and it's tiring. You're traveling from one place to another, nothing is happening. So this officer, while traveling, he took his weapon and he looked behind his JCO, junior commissioned officer, was sitting, and he turned and he said, "Saab, ye hathiyar piche rakho." And that the junior commissioned officer, he didn't move. He looked at him and he said, "Saab, the orders are for you to keep it." And the officer said, "Right, but when I'm going to use it?" And then that JCO, he gave him an important life lesson that, "Saab, you might not require it right now. You might not even require for days, weeks, or months. But the day when you require it right there, right then. At that time, you cannot go back and say, Saab, mujhe hathiyar do." Well, that brings you to a very important life lesson. I see a lot of my friends in the corporate sector who are going to the office, they're not shaven properly, they're not dressed properly, they're not wearing tie. They'll only wear that tie, they only wear the shave when they have to pitch an idea or they have an important meeting. But they don't know when life is going to pitch to you, right? What if you're going to a airport and a very important person looks at you and see if at that time you're not wearing tie, you're not shaven properly, he'll know that you are faking it. And at that time when life pitched to you, you lost it. And in the armed forces, we are taught one thing. The moment you get out of the bed, we are expecting combats. During my time when I served for 2.5 years in Jammu and Kashmir, when I used to move out from a post, every time at the gate it was written, Aaj Mukabla Hoga. Even if every day has been a peaceful day, even if nothing is happening, that might be the day when you have to go into combat. And if at that day you are not ready, that time you cannot go and say, Ki Saab, mujhe hathiyar do. It's not going to happen. You're going to lose. Coming on to a poem which was written by an cadet in National Defense Academy. Just imagine the kind of emotions and the things which are going in, which are flowing through him at the just mere age of 18, 19 years age. So I left home at 18. I learned to kill my enemy before I even learned to do my own taxes. I learned how to care about someone else's life more than my own. I have friends in college. I have friends on LOC. My friends in college go home for summer. My friends in Kargil haven't come back. I wrote my own will when I was 19. I don't get enough sleep most nights. I don't know the next time when I'll see my family. I don't know when I may go home, but I don't know really much. But I do know one thing. I have 1.2 million brothers out there and they make it all worth it. Just imagine the kind of emotions a 19-year-old is saying that he cares about someone else's life more than his. To give you a perspective, what kind of emotions are fed into us during my training days in National Defense Academy, I belonged to a squadron whose squadron flag was maroon over green. That meant blood falling on grass. Like we have the tricolor, every squadron had his own squadron flag. So an instructor was there, an officer. I was not performing up to the standards, and he took it to his heart. And he told me an important thing, which I still take it as a life lesson. And he told me that, Darwal, if you can't do this for these two colors of your squadron, when your time calls, you won't be able to do for those three colors, the tricolor. And then we get commissioned. Just I'll give you a I'll just recite a letter which was written by Captain Vijayant Thapar of 2nd Battalion of the Rajputana Rifles to his parents just before leaving for an battle, and he knew there was a slight chance that he will not come back only. So he wrote, "Dearest Papa, Mama, and Granny, by the time you get this letter, I will be observing you from the stars and enjoying the hospitality of the Asparas. I have no regrets. In fact, even if I become a human again, I will join the army and fight for this nation. If you can, please come and see where the Indian army fought for your tomorrow." As far as the unit is concerned, the new chaps should be told about this sacrifice. I hope my photo will be kept in the Alpha Company Mandir. Whatever organ can be taken should be done. Contribute same money to orphanage and keep on giving 50 rupees to Raksha per month and meet Yogi Baba. Best of luck, Vindhya. And never forget the sacrifice of your men. Papa, you should be proud. Just imagine a 21-year-old who's taking men into certain death. And that is what he's writing. Well, that is the kind of patriotism that is fed into us. Fed into us. Now, same. When I went to the Indian Military Academy, in each wall we had the Chetwood motto, which read, "The safety, honor, and welfare of your country comes first, always, and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the men you command comes next. Your own ease, comfort, and safety comes last, always, and every time." With this, I'll tell you an interesting story about Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey of 1st Battalion of the 11th Gorkha Rifles, Paramveer Chakra, who had laid down his life in Kargil operations. So, after 1 year of the operations, his parents were taken to the place where their son had done the operations. Like in the army, it was very well organized, and they were taken to the exact spot where their son had laid down his life. And luckily, at that time, NCO, Teen Fitti Wala Havaldar, he was present over there, who was there with their son when their son had laid down his life. To put you to perspective, during the Kargil operation, the Pakistani had taken the important posts, important heights, and Captain Manoj Pandey was told to clear out a bunker at a height. If that was not done, the next morning a battalion which was going to launch an assault, they won't have made it. They would have been slaughtered. So Captain Manoj Pandey, along with his team, had reached approximately 20-25 meters from that bunker, and they were hiding behind it. They had taken cover behind a rock, and even a slightest movement, the enemy would fire a burst, and the rocks will splinter. Then they knew the only way to clear that bunker is by death charge. Like it sounds, death charges. There's no going coming back. If you go, you are going to die. So this Havaldar, which was narrating this incident to the parents, told that he was about to get up, and Captain Manoj Pandey, the 22-year-old officer, held his hand, brought him down, and told him that, "Saab, आप तो बड़ा है, आपका बीवी बच्चा है, मैं जवान है, मेरा कोई नहीं है, मुझे जाने दीजिए." And then that Havaldar told to their parents that, "साहब, मनोज पांडे साहब खड़े हुए, सब चट्टान की तरह खड़े हुए और सब चट्टान की तरह आगे बढ़ते गए, and the enemy kept on firing and the bullets kept on piercing through him, but he didn't stop. He managed to reach the top, pull out the pin of the grenade, throw it inside, take the lives of the 4 men, and lay down his own life." That's the kind of emotions which we are fed into. There's a lot of things which I've done in the past 8 years of my life, including training and being an officer. and seeing this, and especially in time in when I was in Punch, I could not explain that why I am doing this. Then I watched this particular movie, and there was a clip. As soon as I saw that, everything got connected. It's a clip from a movie called Black Hawk Down. I hope most of you might have watched it. Let's just take a look at it.
You go back in. Still men out there. God. When I go home, people ask me, hey, who? Why do you do it, man? Why? Some kind of war junkie? I won't say a goddamn word. Why? They won't understand. They won't understand why we do it. They won't understand it's about the men next. That's it. That's all it is. Hey, don't even think about it, all right? I'm better on my own. Hey, we started a whole new week. It's Monday.
More resource, more contenders fighting for less resources, right? So if you think about it, the origin of business, the origin of communication, the origin of any kind of technology, be it sonar, be it X-ray, or be it even commercial flight, they all have origin from war. So if you can learn all that from, if you can, if you, why do you want to learn that second hand in a B school or a IIT when you can directly go to the fountainhead and learn it from the root. The third point which I want to tell you is, from my experience in Punch, after serving for 2.5 years, well, we all assume that we are going to live forever, right? That's why we keep on postponing doing things, postponing talking to someone, or postponing writing a letter, or postponing this, that. Be honest, be truthful. What if I took your life and filmed it with a 16mm camera, that old digital one, and then I hung it in a hall like this, and I start cutting it randomly with a pair of scissors, and then tuck it again. You'll not even notice the difference. Why? Because even if I took out months and years from life, and you did not even notice, then you might have not lived those years. But in that career, every day you walk on this planet is something you'll cherish. Every day has to be lived in a technicolor. You'll truly live life when you see death. There's a wrong notion that the Indian Armed Forces is all about fighting, firing, tanks, artillery guns. It's not that. If you are a dentist, you can be a dentist in the Indian Armed Forces. If you're a lawyer, you can be a lawyer in the Indian Armed Forces. If you're a logistical expert, you can be a logistical expert in the Indian Armed Forces as well.
The most advanced technology firm in India also happens to be the country's best construction company. And its biggest logistics operator. It is India's first cellular enterprise. India's finest hospital group. Oh, and before we forget, India's largest network of educational institutions. One of the 10 largest employers in the world. Over 1.2 million colleagues. More than 20 diverse career disciplines. We are India's most exciting workplace, and we are making you an offer. The Indian Army. Live a life less ordinary.
Now coming on to how to get into the Indian Army, right? What is the way anyone can get into the armed forces? First, let's listen to a senior officer, his experience just before joining the National Defense Academy, and why did he join the Indian Army?
My motivation. I was 13th ranked in the IIT entrance exam. 1-3. I left IIT Chennai and joined the National Defense Academy. 39 years now I've been in the army. I've been shot and wounded. I have lived a full life. Any other place, any other college, any education may give you a job. The army will give you a life. You can make it.
Now coming on, if you have just completed your class 12th education, there are two ways to get into the academy. You can go to the National Defense Academy in Pune, or you can go to the OTA Gaya through technical entry scheme. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is not easy. Let me put statistics in front of you. Each year, to apply for NDA, twice a year, 10 lakh applicants appear for the written exam. Out of those 10 lakh applicants, 9,000 are selected for the service selection board. And out of those 9,000, only 300 elite are selected for their training in National Defense Academy. If you go by the statistics, National Defense Academy is the 8th most toughest academy to get into. Now coming on to the ways, if you haven't cleared the NDA, if you're not gone through the technical entry scheme, one should not be disheartened. People can enter the Indian Armed Forces by these methods by even after their graduation. So I have seen people who have entered the armed forces in 8th or 9th, even 13th attempt of their SSB. What matters is, do you have those qualities which we are looking into? If you do have those qualities, rest assured you too will be wearing this uniform. Now it's about earning respect. For an example, an officer told me this anecdote. He told me that he met his friend after many years, and he was working in some very good corporate organization, some very multinational company. And that a friend of him asked me, "Yeah, how much are you earning?" And that senior officer, he just smiled and replied that I'm earning at minimum 100 salutes a day. And that's what the Indian Army is about. People respect you. It's not about a job or a career. It's a kind of life that you're going to live.
कहाँ था मेरा मिल गई उठे बच्चे की हंसी जैसे फुसलाने से फिर खिल गई
Well, when everything fails, everyone fails, the Indian Armed Forces is called at the end. Like Subedar Neeraj, who got a gold medal for India at the last day of the Olympics. So let me ask you a question. Are you ready to live a life less ordinary? If you have it in you, trust me, we are looking for you. And at the end, let's not forget the individual who made the supreme sacrifice for this nation, who gave their today for our tomorrow. At the end, I would like to conclude by the words of Field Marshal Manak Shah.
Many changes have taken place. But one thing remains the same. That is your task and your duty. You are required to ensure the security of this country against any aggression. What does that mean for you? It means that you should have to fight and fight to win. There is no room for the loser. If you lose, don't come back.
By this, I come to the end of today's webinar. I hope this was a bit helpful. And if any one of you has any kind of problem and want to know about more about how to join the forces or have any kind of problem, be it even personal problem, we are always available. Like the Indian Armed Forces, we are always available to help. Thank you and Jai Hind.